Hi, this is Jim, and this is Second Chance, a Moped podcast. And welcome everybody to another week of Second Chance Moped podcast. Hey, we're at episode 99. I can't believe I fucking made it. That's an asshole thing to say. I can't believe we made it to 99 because there wouldn't be a show without 99 individual guests. That's right. I've had over 99 guests. I can't believe that. It is unbelievable to me that I'm at show 99. I remember when I first started this with Ashley Ackley, this was kind of the remnants of the original Moped podcast, Brapcast. We were hoping to do 4. And then we were hoping to do 4 more. And then Ashley had to bow out, which I'll talk about a little more next week. And the community has supported me wholeheartedly. And with that being said, tune in next week. I've been enabled to give back to the community, but you have to listen next week to check out on that one. But hey, I got out on Mopeds this week. It was Saturday. I'm like, it is 43 degrees. I'm going nuts. I went and rode around the lake a little bit on my DR Hobbit, my Phoenix bike. It was so fucking rad. Then I just kind of said, it was like 39, 40. And I'm just like, I got my fast Hobbit. Screw it. I'll just take it on a little rip. And I did. I rode, I'll keep my mouth shut about that. But I just rolled a little coffee shop, rolled back. It was kind of more of a break-in and shakedown. And the bike was a little weird because like the first 2 heat cycles, it was super lean. Then it was super rich. Then it got a little lean on me, but whatever. I adjusted some stuff. But I am super excited about Mopeds and what's to come this year. We see that rally calendar stacking up. We're seeing everybody's making all their moped plans. I know a ton of people are going to Nashville. That's gonna be the hot one of the spring. I had to make a choice between going out west or going see them bad boys out in LGN. I think I'm gonna make it that's gonna be my East Coast pillage this summer is Legion. I'm gonna have to hit that Philly rally. I want to make a few stops along the way. See those kids out in Ohio, all them zeros, which I can't say enough for the hospitality. All the zeros have ever given me. I hope all moped clubs are like those guys because those guys are so fucking rad and so genuine, and they can bust your balls and they can give you the shirt off their back at the same time. So if you have the opportunity to go to anything from the zeros, I can't recommend it enough. And that's what I got on that. So I'm always looking for guests. I've had some guests reach out to me, and that's awesome, and I love that, and it's rad. And then I've had some people, I've had to reach out to them. And then this is one. I'm always on MA. I don't post a lot because I just don't. But I'm always looking to see who's on. And I saw this individual, and I saw, holy shit, they have a lot of posts. And I don't have your profile up right now. But I'm like, God, this person. And I started looking. They've been around a long time. I'm like, fuck it. And I'll just ask anybody pretty much. I'm not trying to belittle. There I go. Trying to be witty again. But right now, I just want to, fuck it. We'll just introduce our guest and have him tell you where he's from.
How you doing? So Dave Seeley, a.k.a. Ped Dave.
Ped Dave.
How did I get that name? Well, it should be pretty obvious. Yeah, I've always had the love for the tripod. Have a few now and, whatever. So I live in Boston now, been here since around 2000, originally from New York City. Got my first moped before all y'all were born.
What borough are you from in New York? Because I know enough about New York City that it's not really New York City. What borough are you from?
New York City, 52nd and 8th, Midtown Manhattan.
Manhattan. Okay, that is, Midtown. I do.
Right
Hold on 1 second, Dave. I've got all these damn notifications going on my computer, and it's going to drive me nuts. So I'm going to can't close a few things. And I have a very professional podcast where I stop down to close stuff. Okay, anyways. So they call you Ped Dave. You bought a moped. before most of us were born. So I feel like before we get going on this, I got to do my little intro thing that some people like. So hold on. I got to always sip my coffee for Jesse. I love coffee. But
Me too.
Dave, here on Second Chance, the Moped Podcast, will go through people's moped journeys, i.e., the very first time they can remember seeing a moped to like the smile ride, middle part of their journey, and what it's like today. So, Dave, let me ask you this. What is your very first memory of a moped? Not necessarily getting on it, but the first time you can conceptually remember, hey, that's a moped.
So I was the youngest of four, and my older brother is like 11 years older than me. So
Oh,
I'm
wow,
like
okay.
at 5, 6 years old. He had, I think it was a Villers or some, English moped that I don't know where the hell he got it from. But anyway, I saw that and I was like, ooh, that's cool. It had like the curved fenders and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my first one when I was 12.
Now, where were you guys get? Was it from like a bike shop or like a catalog? Like I find that because you're one of the few people I can say I've had on the show that's ordered one new. So like that's fascinating to me in its own right.
Yeah.
Like, where did you get it new?
Well, those we got used, so we got
Okay.
them from people. Being in the New York metropolitan area, you get a lot of people from other countries,
Mm-hmm.
and they bring their shit with them.
Yeah, yeah.
So that helped a lot. But I mean, later on, years later, I actually went to the Batavus dealer and bought a brand new from the dealer with the warranty, with the paperwork, with the options, all that. So,
Awesome.
I remember that.
You don't know much about me, but I got my very first. We'll say in Minnesota at least, Batavis. I got my very first Batavis this fall. So
Yeah, mine was I won't forget a gray Starflight top tank
nice.
with the 48, not the 56. Thank
Okay.
God. Uh,
It
and
does. No, what? Honestly, I am very ignorant when it comes to Batavis. I'm still going to pronounce it wrong compared to what you say. The only reason why I bought one is because I had an opportunity to buy the Grand Prix. So
right. Um, yeah, I have a Grand Prix. I have a blue one. I used to have a
that's
gold one.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, I mean those are sort of bats. I mean Peugeot motor. It's kind of
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of better. A lot
That's
better.
yeah. There you go.
Yeah, they're a lot better. I must say. Yeah. So in New York, they have some very strange moped laws, and they have them in classifications.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend owned the dealership, and he gave me the 30-mile-an-hour bat, but he wrote up on the sales slip that it was a 20. So
Awesome.
in New York, on the 20-mile-an-hour ones, you don't need a helmet. It's considered a bicycle basically. No
Yep.
insurance, no nothing.
Okay.
So I just enjoyed because it looked like a motorcycle, and I'm riding this thing with no helmet on the street, and I got pulled over like every day
Oh
because
yeah,
the
yeah,
cops couldn't figure this shit out. Like,
yeah.
what are you doing on a motorcycle with no helmet?
Yep.
Half the time they pull me over and just say, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm riding, I'm breathing,
I'm going
I'm
forward
wondering
until you
why you're
stop me,
asking me a
asshole.
silly
Yeah.
question with no, and then." Being Mr. Wise Guy, I'd usually answer them with, what's your reasonable cause for the stop?
I imagine that went over well.
Well, yeah, usually did. But, that would put them in defensive mode. They really didn't have an answer. Well, you're not wearing a helmet. And I'm like, dude, this is a C class. I don't need a helmet. Don't you even know the law? And then they'd just be reeling back like this. And,
Okay.
yeah. Not that I like messing with state troopers, but I do like messing with ones that don't know the law.
Yeah,
So, yeah, there's that.
yeah.
I mean, once I got hooked on mopeds, I have owned one, at least one, actually at least two, continuously since 1967.
Good for you, my guy. That's
Right
awesome.
now I have, I don't know, 15, 20, I don't know, a lot.
We're gonna have to talk about your living situation because I know Midwest is unique. And anyways, we'll get there because like
Yeah.
that's awesome. You can hoard that many in the city. Um.
Well, I'm in the near suburbs. I'm like
Okay.
8 miles from downtown Boston. So it's like
Okay.
single family houses,
All right. Yeah.
suburbia kind of.
So you've been around. You were using it just for like modes of transportation. I'm guessing, like, because was there like the early days of mopeds, was there groups of people like this is like
Mm, it's funny. It was completely different. Everybody had them. See, I
mhm,
lived through the moped craze.
mhm,
Everybody had them, young, old, you name it. All economic strata, all racial strata. Everybody just
mhm,
got into these because they were cheap and they were fun.
yeah,
And it kind of like went against the whole tough motorcycle guy thing. And you met the nicest people, and every bicycle shop sold mopeds and sold moped
mhm,
parts, and that was huge because me and one of my friends decided one summer we're going to go on adventure, and we drove our mopeds from Westchester County in New York to
yep.
Key West
That's
and
that.
back.
I was gonna ask you about that because I was going through your like rally roster, and I'm like, what the hell? That was pre pinball. That's this got to
That
be a
was
typo.
pre
So
the
yeah, it
people
was
who
pre
weren't even
everything.
born. That yeah,
So let me ask you this: A, why? B, were they just straight stock bikes and you just did the white
yeah,
line riding and just like hope nobody ran you over, no rednecks in the south kind of gave hassled you? I mean, sorry buzzards in QCB, but there's rednecks down there. I love you
yeah,
guys.
yeah. I'm at home with Red. I like everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, we took Route 1, A1A, all the coastal
Mhm.
road, A for the view, B
Yep.
for the not highway, and C for the motels if it rains, constant
Mhm.
diners, just the Americana view, and
Yeah,
most
dude.
importantly, bicycle shops. Because
Mm.
every bicycle shop sold moped parts. Every bicycle shop. It
Mhm.
was paradise. Now you got to scrounge for parts, you got to order, wait, blah, blah, blah. No, I wrote down I got a flat tire in Virginia. Where's the nearest bicycle shop? Boom, got a poop tube, and off I went.
Yeah.
You know,
And this is like I can get it because I was a kid before GPS.
right.
And but like that's just nuts, dude. Like get on this road and we're staying on this road. How long did it take you guys to get down
All
from
summer. Up,
was it
that
okay?
down. It took about, but we weren't in a hurry. It
No.
wasn't about the destination. It was about the ride.
Exactly.
So if we were in a place we liked south of the border,
Mhm.
that place in Carolina that's like
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah, dude.
yeah,
That place is I
you
have
know,
never stopped there and I kick myself all the time. Like
well, we stayed there for 2 days. You know what I'm saying? It's like we didn't care. It was we're free. We're gonna do
Mhm.
what we want. We're gonna. The only thing is we're gonna get to Key West sometime during the summer and get home and whatever. So it took us a lot longer to get there than to get back.
Mhm.
Took about 3 weeks to get there, about two to get back.
Okay. Yeah,
And we
yeah.
were, like I said, no hurry. It was about the ride. We met a lot of people and saw a lot of stuff and had a great time. You
And
know.
this was the summer of 67, you said?
Oh no, this early 70s.
Okay, early
Yeah,
70s.
yeah.
Okay.
Like 72, 73, something like that.
Dude, that's so fucking like that is super, super, super rad. Like,
Yeah. And then in the late 70s, that's when groups started to appear.
okay.
And I don't remember how I found out about them, but there was a group in Canada and there was a group in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And we got together and decided to meet. So
All
we
right.
met at Ruse's Point, which is where the border crossing is.
All right.
Just about, we had no reason for it, just wanted to
Yeah.
do it. Yeah,
Well, meet in the middle thing. I mean,
yeah,
moped clubs will do that now, and you guys were this
right.
is decades before everything, and that's just fascinating. Like, this is all just really rad stuff. Like, this is actually the thing that when I first started this podcast with my former co-host, like that was like some of it. I wanted to learn more of the history of mopeding, and I had some early pioneers, but like you are probably the earliest, I will have to say.
There are people
Um,
before me, I
yeah,
assure
yeah.
you. Yeah,
Oh, exactly,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. That's interesting that you're able to even find people and correspond with them to even meet up. Like, just
You know how we did it? Classified ads in the newspaper.
that's what I was gonna kind of
Yeah, yeah,
assume. Like
yeah.
yeah, because I can. It's just like band posters or whatever for shows or whatever. Like I know that's the way a few moped groups like you want to go ride. Here's the date. They'd staple it to a
Yep,
telephone
we
pole.
did that
Like,
too. Yep.
mm-hmm.
And the people on the road were a little more respectful of mopeds because all kinds of different folks had them.
Mm-hmm.
Old, young, it didn't matter. Nowadays, it's a little more sketchy. People are a little more aggressive. So being in a group is a lot more helpful.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah, it was a different world.
yeah.
It was a lot.
Slower.
Yeah, a lot slower, a lot safer. Nobody really cared. It was like, oh, look at that. You were a bit of an oddity, but not too much of an oddity.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind. I'm odd, so yeah.
Well, I say this all the time. If you're into mopeds, it doesn't matter what age you are. There is something a little off about you. No matter
Yeah,
some of us, there's a lot off, and some of us
right.
just a touch. Like I'm probably a lot off because this is what I do. Um,
And there was no tuning stuff.
that's what I was
Made
going to
your
kind of
own.
ask you. Did you
You
just
made your
kind
own.
of okay?
Yep. That's when your cylinder got tired. You didn't get a new one. You
Mm-hmm.
punched it out and got an oversized piston.
Mm-hmm.
The dealers sold first, second, third, fourth oversized.
Yeah, yeah,
I would bypass all that and just punch it out to the fourth.
yeah. Because you had to go fast. I get it.
Yeah. You'd pull the baffle out of your exhaust and enlarge the holes. You drill out your intake, Dremel
Mm-hmm.
your ports. Now guys have it made. You just, give me the Polini, bam, I'm
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, but we're still stupid and we're still porting those Pellinis and we're still, yeah, I mean, don't get me
Because
wrong.
we know better than the Polini factory, right? Yeah, sure we do.
Yeah,
Well, actually, they build things to last. I build my bikes to last.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Most of
Yeah.
them are pretty fast,
Yep.
but I'll sacrifice that extra 2 miles an hour to
Yep.
have it around
Because
for
honestly, if you build a bike that goes 45, it'll probably last you forever.
yeah. Most
40,
of mine do
45.
about 45.
Yep.
Yep.
Because then you're not, but like it's once you get into that 50, 55, 60, that's when you're
Yeah.
breaking stuff. And
Well, they're not designed. They're designed for 30. You're already pushing it at 30. Yeah,
Isn't
and
that
and
true?
I always put small carbs, and everyone laughs at me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm clocked at 50 miles an hour with a 1412, they go, "How the?"
Yeah. Well,
Because you don't need it. I
this
like the
summer,
economy.
I'm getting to be a bigger and bigger and bigger fan of smaller carbs because like I talked to a few people like I did 65 on my Hobbit and they're like what carb you have on it 19 millimeter Polina like I'm
19's huge to me. The biggest one I have, I think, is a 17.
yeah I'm a huge fan of 17 yeah the 17 millimeter carbs because like you get a lot of performance outlet a lot of low end and you get gas mileage which is
Well, yeah, you're
awesome.
not blowing half of the unburned fuel out the exhaust,
Yeah.
which people don't realize they're doing with those 21s. And no
Yeah.
matter how great a tuner you are, the larger the carb, the more problematic the low end tuning.
Mm-hmm.
There's you got to find that nice middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it with, I just threw together a Safari a couple weeks ago, and the thing's doing an honest 45, 50,
Nice.
14, 14.
Yeah. Yeah. So you talked about meeting up with that group out in Canada. You guys met at what was the city in New York or
Rose's Point.
Rose's Point? Okay.
Yeah, it's like the Tijuana, there's an actual, crossover border crossing there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a big one too. It's like where the thruway meets the main road that goes into Montreal.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
like the main crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys meet up with that, and that's in the late 70s, you think?
Yeah,
And
maybe even 80.
okay. What is like? I'm not meaning to rush
No,
any point in this, but like what was like the early 80s to mid 80s like for you, especially when people are getting rid of these like
it
and
was
I'm not
paradise. I was buying them like crazy. Are you kidding? So I have seen the moped market up and down and up and down over the decades. So in the 80s, when gas got cheap again, everybody put them in their basement and forgot about them.
mm-hmm.
So the early 80s, they were still marketable. Around the mid 80s, now all these bikes don't run.
Yeah.
And I went on a buying spree. Okay. And then, a few years after that, early 90s, they kind of got popular again
Mm-hmm.
because they were unique.
Yeah. Okay, I
And
could
they
see
got
that.
tired again, and they went back into the basements, and maybe mid 90s was the doldrums. Late 90s, early 2000s, bam, hot again. Buy mopeds,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they were so plentiful.
Mm-hmm.
You could
Now,
go anywhere.
to slow this down a little bit, like, what's riding like for you at this point? Is it just like going to the bar, the coffee shop, or getting groceries? Are you still doing like any type of long riding? Yeah, that's kind of what's your moped life like at this point?
So I've been last couple of years kind of
And I mean in like the 80s and early 90s. What was
oh
that
no,
like?
I've always ridden just to ride.
Mm-hmm.
Often I'd ride to work, um, but I ride because I like to ride. I'll ride long, short, doesn't matter. I go to rallies. Actually, for the last year or two, I've been kind of organizing the Boston rides.
That's what Mars was saying. Is like, yeah, I had to step back a little bit. He had some stuff going on, and like, because I had never heard of you, and like, I'm a nobody, so I guarantee you had never heard of me. And I just like, well, what's up with this? He's like, oh yeah, well, sweet, awesome. So yeah, thank you for that, Dave. For
Yeah.
still being there. Um, Now, in the 80s and like early 90s, were you riding with anybody? Did you have like a moped buddy? Because it seems like a lot of people around will have like their moped buddy.
Not really. No. I was the oddball.
Yeah.
I was the one that people pointed out. Look at that idiot. Which I have no problem with.
Mhm.
I mean, I had friends. What I would often do, since I had so many, is I would invite my friends over, and we take a moped, take a moped, take a moped, and like 6 or 7 of us would go on a ride and go out for Chinese or
Okay.
whatever. We would go to a bar, whatever we wanted to do. But we did group ride,
Okay.
but I owned all the bikes.
Right on.
Yeah, which
No,
was
dude, that
okay.
that works. You got your,
Yeah,
especially like you said, if you're got a good collection going. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So
Um,
yeah, we do that. Sometimes the parades, things like that. Because they're odd enough.
mhm,
I get a bunch of my friends. Okay, let's if we wanted to promote something,
mhm.
you know, put on the posters or whatever onto their mopeds and take them on the,
Yeah,
it's an attention getter.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, you talk about that. I have to ask. Like, it's itching my head. Have you ever owned or seen a white Magnum?
A white Magnum,
Yep, I've seen pictures. I've seen a few, like, or a white Cobra, I should say,
white
white
Cobra,
poop.
yes.
Okay, because like
I
I
owned a
just
white Cobra.
I what okay, maybe you can explain what is the deal with them and why were they so rare? Like, I've seen like internet pictures of one, and I saw NYC Mopeds had one, and like that's all I've ever seen.
It's just what people ordered. You know,
Okay.
it's just a fluke. Like Pook made what they thought would sell,
Mm-hmm.
and white wasn't popular, so they didn't
Okay.
make a lot of them. Very simple. And what really drives me crazy when people are restoring bikes or trying to get parts, they're always looking for the correct tail light, the correct headlight, the correct switches. Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
They were pumping these shits out so fast, CEB couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
So whatever they would ship, they'd put on. So you could have consecutive number mopeds with different lights,
Oh yeah, I've
different
noticed that
switches.
with Hobbits. Like from same year, they have different fucking wiring harness
I'm
the way
talking
they
about
work on them.
same, literally consecutively numbered serial numbers
Mm-hmm.
with completely different shit on them because they ran out. And then, okay, put on that. Why do you think some Pooks have a 12 millimeter carb with a 14 intake, or a 14 millimeter carb with a 12 intake? They had such demand, and supply was so fucked up, they had to
Yeah.
slap on whatever they could get.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no, plan for that. I mean, Pook knew if we're putting this intake on and this carb, we better put this jet.
Yeah, yeah.
It runs
So
right.
literally, they came up with it's just mopeds. Let's make it work.
Exactly. But that was simply because of supply chain issues, which
Yeah.
we relate to nowadays a lot. Just go to a supermarket and buy chicken, if you find it. If today it's there, tomorrow it's not, whatever. So they were having the same shit going on. So I love when people are saying, "Oh, but I want to restore it correctly." I'm like, dude, you don't get it. I was there. There is no correct light for that. Put whatever you feel like on there because that's what they did. Yeah,
That's awesome. That shit makes me happy right there.
yeah.
Um,
I bet it makes a lot of collectors happy that are listening to this too, because now they
yeah.
don't search anymore.
Well, and yeah, exactly, exactly. Um, we talked about kind of going through like the 80s. You're the oddball out. You're kind of running with some buddies. You'll go on parade routes and stuff like that. And you dabbled in it just a minute ago about how like all of a sudden late 90s, early 2000s, bam, it's hot again. When did you hear of Moped Army? Because like, and I was just listening because I get nostalgic and whatnot. I was just listening to some like early Moped Monday podcast. Like, some people have issues with Moped Army, some people don't, but we all can agree it is the binding thing for all of the
Yes, yes,
community. You
absolutely
know, and anytime you get humans, at least my experience, if anytime you get humans together, we're not going to agree on everything, but we can all agree it's good enough the way it is for us all to come together. Like, and I mean, it's a hub for rallies and whatnot.
right.
When was the first time you heard about Moped Army or even came across it?
I started my job at Harvard University in 2003 or four,
Mm-hmm.
and I took a moped to work because I always take a moped to work. And I left it parked in front of the Science Center, and I come back out, and there's a note on it, and it was from the Boston affiliate of Moped Army at the time,
Oh,
Kilohertz.
okay.
Hey, we have a club. You want to join? I had this thing about clubs. I'm not against clubs. They're great. I just don't join them because of it's like if you're a member, that means there's non-members and who's better kind of thing. And I don't want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's my family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I was asked to join and I graciously declined, but I still rode with them and like that.
You were busy
Everybody's
doing your thing, but you were always willing to support and be a part of their
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. Everyone's my family. If you have one of these, you're my family. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So and that's I don't care what you look like, how old you are, how you identify. You're my family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Done. But anyway, so they said, oh, we're part of Moped Army. So I immediately go to my computer, and there they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many thousands of posts do I have on there now.
Oh God, you were like 6, 7,000,
Yeah.
probably more. I'm just throwing a rude. Know what? You keep on talking, and I will look up your profile. Um, so you discover Moped Army, and you
Right.
see that. What was your what was your thoughts about all that? Like, you
Oh, I
have
thought it
right
was
now, Dave. You have 6,861 posts, one wiki edit, and 25 photos in gallery, and 3 photos liked.
oh, okay, cool.
So there's your Moped Army stats.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, that, great because of the rallies and the get together. I mean, it's
Hmm.
just, it's a binding force.
Hmm.
And, like you said, there can be angst from time to time, but the bottom line is without that binding force, it would be different for all of us,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
So I know early on in Kalamazoo there was barbecues. Did you get out to any of the barbecues? And I feel like drawing the picture for some of the people in like the Midwest and whatnot. Like, my ex-wife was from Queens, New York. Never drove, never owned a car before she moved to Minnesota. Are you only moped bound at this point because you're in the East Coast where it's very heavily populated? Were you just only mopeds, or did you have a car? Or
No, I have, yeah, I like cars.
okay, okay. I was just wondering if you had driven out to. What was the first time you actually went to like a? Did you ever make it to any of the barbecues or anything like that in
I
Kalamazoo?
did
Or
not really get out of the Northeast because there's so many rallies here.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to New York, Acadia, like that. Mostly in my area, but a lot of them. I mean, they're
Okay.
on Moped Army. You can see.
Yeah, yeah.
New Hampshire. We bombed the Laconia biker rally one year.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
about 100 of us show up on the prime day, Saturday afternoon, on mopeds down the main street of the Harley
Mm-hmm.
rally. So yeah, that was fun. Um, yeah, so I've been to many, many rallies, but mostly Northeast. I'll get out there soon. Um, I'm not moped bound ever. I don't think. No, I've
Yeah.
never been moped bound. Um, but I'm kind of like moped focused.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I
R-
mean.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you. What? Let me ask you this: what was your first rally you ever went to?
Mm. Well, I'd have to say that Roosters Point meeting was a rally. We got together, two countries,
Yep.
1981, and then we rode for like a 20-mile, ride. Um, my favorite rally is annual, and that's by far Acadia.
Okay.
Yeah,
Y-
and it's not an official rally; it's not on the
No.
calendar, but that's only because um, there's limited accommodations,
Mm-hmm.
and it would get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're literally taking an entire campground every year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
this
was
is big.
supposed to come out to that this year, and then I've recently I've made some changes to my schedule,
Right.
so I don't think I'm gonna make it. Yeah, I got some stuff I got to talk about in a few weeks here on the podcast, but I am bummed out about that. But like, I just had to kind of prioritize my time, my money, and my focus. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm bummed out. That's what but it is what it is. You talk so you talk about that meet in the middle at the Canadian border. What was we'll call it in the modern era of mopeds? When was the first time your first moped rally in the moped army era of mopeds?
Sure. The Kilohertz first moped rally in Boston, I think they called it Boston Massacre.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What was like that like for you?
Well,
Yeah.
I already knew a lot of the people because we had been riding regularly already, but it was fun. It was great. We had about 70 people show up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And um, it was a blast. I brought up triped microcar. How about that? Um, funny thing is, midway or well, no, in the about three-quarters of the way through the rally, I disappeared, and everybody thought I blazed on them. But actually, my air intake sucked up a Snickers wrapper.
Oh Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that thing's so big, you're not just throwing it in the back of a car.
No.
They didn't have a chase truck, so I fixed it on the street. But I, of all things, a Snickers wrapper. But that's mopeds.
Yeah,
That's how.
mopeds are dumb like that. That's
That's what
hilarious.
happens. You find things that you sometimes don't want to find.
Yeah, and brave on you. I mean, I know things have changed, but like a microcar at a moped rally, because I've been on a few of them, and those things don't turn that well. Like you gotta
It's
kind
an art, and I've mastered it. Um,
of.
I kitted that. Actually, I kitted that in 2006.
Okay,
Same kit's still running.
nice.
I built to last.
What kind of speed are you getting out of that microcar? Like
40.
20. Holy shit!
Yeah,
You're my
it's
no
like a
way.
surfboard.
Yeah, no way I'd ever go 40 on a microcar. Like I went like 25, 26 on Charlie Buzzards that he had a few years
Yeah.
ago. That was sketchy as hell.
Well,
Like,
the problem is you were sitting on the seat.
yeah.
So you sit on the seat, but you put your feet, on the frame on the
Yep.
corners, and you surf.
Okay.
Okay, and that's use your weight, and that's how you turn. So it can be done. It's just you got to learn how to do it.
Mhm.
I remember I used that actually on their second rally as well because they had a professional photographer
Mhm.
that was taking video for the rally, and she rode with me
Oh, awesome.
so that she could do like shots from the ground and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome.
And I
Uh
kept up with two people.
dude, yeah, my good on you. That's I'm getting more and more to like I want to own weird shit in mopeds, but one thing I'm not
That's
willing
me.
one thing I don't think I'm willing to give up garage space for is a microcar or a tripod or anything like that, but like I'm I want mini bike, I want little bikes. I might have a line on a TX50 and I
Yeah.
might have a line on a Mondial again. Because then it'd match my Grand Prix. I gotta maybe do that, but like, I want weird stuff. Like, I
Those are weird, but
mhm.
I've taken it to the next level.
Yeah,
Mine, almost every one I own is so weird that some of them, the amount of them that are in existence are five or less.
yeah.
Yeah. So like little bikes, I like little bikes. So I have a DKW 509.
Okay,
It's,
who made
one of
that?
those little 9-inch wheel things.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has
Who
a
was the
Sachs
manu?
502. How many of those do you see around?
Oh Jesus, yeah.
Not a 52, a 502, that radial fin, ugly little thing.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, I have a Moby. Yeah, it's a D50R though,
Okay.
which is
Um, for
the
the
Special
ignorance kids, I was gonna say, why don't you explain that to us?
top tank, 1965,
Okay.
free restrictions.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So the D50R is the special motor. It's
Hmm.
the Special, but with a high compression engine, 45, 46 stock. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, Arciero Hawk 4 GT. It's your standard tube frame Italian, looks like a pacer, but
Okay.
has an MO4, 4-speed, foot shift, manual
Oh,
clutch.
so when do you want to get rid of some of these, Dave? I'm just wondering.
What? When do what?
When do you want to sell some of these to me, Dave? I'm just
Um,
wondering.
so I would gladly, but no. They're actually willed.
Oh, awesome.
Um, I have, moped friends.
Yep.
Some bikes were actually given to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And, so that person, for example, has in my will first pick.
No. Dude, that's rad. I'm just busting chops like
Well, no,
this
no,
red
it's,
this red Pook, I'll probably never sell it because of who I got it from, some friends. And
yep,
like it's you know what? If I wanted to, the market right now, I could quadruple my money for what I paid for it, but it's like,
easy.
who cares? Like it's
And then what do you
never
ride? That's the
yeah.
problem.
Yep.
I have a Pook,
Yep. What
an X50/3. It's
explain?
X50 3-speed handlebar shift,
Oh, okay, yeah,
3-speed manual clutch
yeah.
with
Mm-hmm.
pedals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. You know what's really weird about that RC Hawk 4-speed? It has pedals and pegs. Very
Interesting.
confusing.
Yeah, you'll have to maybe send some pictures of these to me just so I can
Pedals
see.
and
Because
foot
like
pegs.
I get an idea of some of these bikes, but like remember, like I've been around 3 4 years, so like one of the more rare bikes I saw when I went out east with my buddy. We picked up a Peugeot. I think it was a Peugeot. It's a GL10. It's a
Oh, yeah.
little yeah, and
T10. My friend Tim has one.
okay, like it was nuts. And Dose actually imported that, and he got
Yep.
it from a guy, and like he's pretty much blew it apart every nut and bolt because the tank wasn't shot, but like so much was just roached on it that
Right.
it is what it is. But he'll get it running. Lee's a pretty damn smart guy and a pretty good machinist himself, so whatever. Um,
I have a dose bike. I have a Tala Master LF. It's I call it my Tron bike. Remember the
okay,
movie Tron?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it looks like so 80s with the um, like 3-star wheels, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like bizarre looking. That one has a Rosado Buffalo motor, and that's the Rosado 122. It's a kickstart, single speed. They're just well made little Italian motors,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to pull some rabbits out of a hat to find a kit for that one. But I have friends in Italy, so yeah,
Okay.
I kitted that, and it's got a little pipe on it, and it was 25-mile-an-hour bike, restricted for Germany because it still has the stickers.
Okay.
But I last time I checked, I think I got 43 out of it, which is respectable.
Oh yeah, 43
Oh
on
yeah.
a moped. You're doing all right.
Well,
Um.
when they restrict them in Europe, they don't get around.
Mm-mm.
My Pook X50. The case literally is smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a choice of either grinding the case to put a normal cylinder on it, but I went the other way. I bought a 50 kit and I honed the skirt to
Yep.
fit in the case because I didn't want to mess with the original case.
No, that's a smart move on your end. Yeah.
And so it's 50 cc's, but it's ported, and it does pretty good. So what they did was they're serious about that shit. They have cops with dynos and they stick it on the dyno. And if it goes more than the speed it's supposed to, that's tax evasion.
Oh shit. See, I've
So,
seen
no,
I've seen
they
pictures of
arrest you.
that.
You're
Yeah.
done. They confiscate the bike. It's evidence. I mean, it's serious shit. So like everything on it is made to not be able to tune it. The sprocket in the back has a different template of the holes. That's how serious they are about this shit. So, making that fast is a project, but it's a fun project, and worthwhile when you're done. And that one's gone to the top of Cadillac Mountain in Acadia.
Nice.
Yep. And kept up with the crowd.
Dude, that's so rad.
That was an 18-mile-an-hour bike.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just talking some of that stuff like, and I've seen the pictures like of cops dynoing bikes and like drilling cylinders out if you got too big a cylinder.
They'll measure the cc's. I mean, they're woo.
Yeah.
I had a Hercules, Sachs Hercules, with a 2-speed manual, and it was an 18-mile-an-hour. They call them MOFA, MOFA.
Okay.
That's the 18-mile-an-hour jammies because they don't have, they have very low tax for a MOFA. And I had one of those. They were so serious on that one that the studs on the engine, 1, 2, 3, 4. They had a big hole, and the fourth one was way out here, so you could only put in the MOFA cylinder. You couldn't put the normal cylinder.
Okay, so they didn't want anybody getting any aftermarket parts for it.
Well, yeah. So, but that's JB Weld and fill it up and done.
It's Mopeds. Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah, so I had that sucker moving pretty good.
Nice. When I talk about this, and we kind of usually at the beginning, like, do you remember your smile ride? The first time you got a moped and like kind of just absolutely fell in love with it. Like, do you remember that? What bike was that on?
When that Batavus Grant was it Starflight?
Okay.
Brand new, shiny from the factory. You know what I mean? I drive it out of the dealership with no helmet. The dealer was in Croton, New York, which is, it was about 20, 25 miles north of New York City. And I was driving it to my grandmother's house about 15 miles away. And, I'm in Westchester, not, which is suburbs. There's some nice open roads. And I just I've got this brand new bike. I don't need a helmet. I'm just free in the wind. And off I went. And I went to the house and I just turned right back around. I got to my destination and I rode that thing for like 4 hours.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Were you using motor oil as your mix, or were you using 2-cycle oil back in the day?
Yeah, I was smart enough to use outboard.
Okay.
I had a boat, so I already had the oil. 2-stroke wasn't that common. You go to a gas station and they looked at you like, well, unless you were near a lake or near the ocean where there were a lot of boat people, then they had it. So, I would buy, and I still have, I should have brought it so I could show. I still have the 1970s outboard oil because I bought cases of it.
Oh yeah.
I still have.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Like the Evinrude, 50-to-1 special outboard oil,
Yeah.
It was great for mopeds.
Dude, that's great. That's great. So how was your feeling about, the beginning days of 77 mopeds and Treatland and stuff like that? Like, how did that stuff work into your moped life? Like, and what was did you even think about getting performance parts early on, or like, I'm just kind of wondering how that evolution happened for you.
Well, for me, first of all, like I said, they didn't exist. So you learned how to make stuff fast on your own. Which, I already knew how to do it. But when kits started to show up, I was like, whoa, hallelujah.
Yeah.
Because it made things so much simpler. I mean, I can slap a kid on in 15 minutes and be riding it.
Yeah.
But if I was doing the work myself, hours and hours of fine tuning and dremeling and cleaning and emery and crocus cloth and all that nonsense, and that like eliminated that. I mean, dust off the ports and slap it on and off you go. So I was thrilled when that started happening. When the internet started happening is when my eyes opened. There was Moped World.
Okay.
They had that really like dumb looking website with like it looked like Star Wars, like a first generation iteration of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I started buying from them. Then I discovered, out in California, out in San Francisco, Myron's.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I still.
when Myron had it
Yep.
before Sean.
Okay.
Okay, we're talking way back. Troglodytes way back. And then more places started popping up. The internet just changed everything. Before that, you were looking in magazines, mail ordering, hoping a bike shop would have what you needed. It was real hit and miss.
Yeah, I know some of the early guys I've interviewed, like Graham from Moped Factory, like they would talk about like 50cc and .nl. They'd get cylinders and stuff like that from, and the whole money order.
I still do.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still around.
Yeah. I gotta think who I just ordered. I ordered a pipe for my Grand Prix, and I think I should. I'll keep quiet because I want to say I ordered from them, but I don't think I did. It was somewhere out of France.
I find places. I just ordered a kit for a 502. I didn't even think they existed, from Switzerland.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they don't ship to the United States, so I'm going to have it shipped to a friend in Germany, and then they'll forward it, and that kind of nonsense. But I didn't even. I had to struggle when I got that bike. It was seized, and the piston was iffy, and I had to struggle to find a piston for it. I ended up making one from another. I ended up taking a similar piston and taking down the skirt and making it work.
Oh, okay.
It rides real nice, runs great, but I literally made the piston.
That's all.
Well, they're so hard. There's no parts for those. They're so rare.
It's literally unobtainium, as we will say around here.
Yeah, because they went from the 501 to the 502 to the 503 in a matter of months. The 503 was so far superior to the 502. They didn't make so many of them.
Yeah, they realized they saw their flaw and just like, screw this, we're out of here.
It's not flawed. It's a good little motor. It's just the 503 is fan cooled, vertical, more powerful. It's just a better motor. So the little single speed got kind of, fell off the train, and So funny thing, people think that because something's rare, it's valuable.
Yeah, no, not so much, but yeah.
No. Why do you think the maxis are so valuable now?
Because we were talking about this the other day. When you think of moped, that's what you think, maxi.
It's not rare. People had them, and now they miss them, and that's what makes it valuable.
Yeah.
Okay. I have my Puka is 10 times rarer than that, 100,000 times rarer than that. I could probably have a harder time selling it than you're selling your maxi, because you have a ready market of people my age who lived the moped craze and want to be young again, and there it is.
Yeah.
I had one of those. I'm guilty of that myself, because I had a white Honda 160 that I went halfies with my best friend on when I was like 13. $25 a piece. We bought this piece of shit and we'd bomb around on it. And one of my moped friends had that exact bike, but nice. And I saw it and I was like, I have to have it. And we worked out a deal. I gave her a moped and some cash, and But,
dude, I hear you on that 100%.
Yeah.
Now, when you moved from New York to Boston, were you still the odd guy out in the world of mopeds, or were there starting to be moped people around? Was it, or was it just happenstance with kilohertz finding you? Like, did
Total
you leave a
happenstance.
moped community at all in New York,
No.
or was it kind of dead?
Um, I had friends who rode, and eventually, after some of those jaunts where I say, take a moped, take a moped, take a moped,
Hmm.
a couple of them got mopeds. So I had a small, little nexus there.
Hmm.
But when I moved here, I knew nobody.
Okay.
And that kilohertz thing was complete happenstance. I parked in a place where, it was high profile where they happened to be. And one of them just left a note on my bike.
Dude, that's awesome. That shit makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Um, and how did you see the scene change? Like, one lucky two strokes came in and left, and now you got the LSLB boys. Like, how is kind of the out? Not necessarily you're an outsider, but how has it been kind of seeing the scene in Boston right now for mopeds?
So, you're talking about all these clubs and scenes going in and out, but if you look at the people,
Mm-hmm.
there's a core
Yeah.
like Mars
Yep.
that have always been, no matter who, no
Yep.
matter what, no matter when, and probably always will be.
Yeah.
So,
Mars is such a genuine human being. Like,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, so much respect and so much love for that guy. Like, just
but he's
fun.
been around,
Yep.
from all the different groups. So, you know, that's why, I don't put so much uh, personal input into group, into a club per se, because they come and go, but
Hmm.
the people don't.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? They're
I hear you.
they're my family,
Yeah.
basically. You know, if somebody's in trouble, I have a trailer, a rack for my car. It's happened.
Hmm.
I'm so and so, and there's no way to get home or whatever. You know, it's your family. You go get them.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you, and that's rad. I totally agree with you. I got distracted by your cat in the background. I love cats.
Oh, oh, that one. You want them?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I gotta give you some shit about the Rangers thing because I am from Minnesota and I'm supposed to love hockey, but yeah, whatever. Um, I was gonna ask you before what what's it? You say you stay in the Northeast, but like, what's the farthest out you've gone for a moped rally?
I'd have to think about that. Now, I've stayed mostly in New York, New England, New Jersey. Went to one of Moped Lars rides.
Hmm.
Those were legendary. He's a great guy too.
Yeah,
Another
he
legend.
actually lives down in Virginia now.
Yep. Now I've been to Moped Lars rides, been to several New York rallies, Boston rallies, New Hampshire rallies, Maine, several Maine. There was so one of the fun one was the kid that owns the moped shop in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Which shop is that?
There's a shop in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Okay,
Airport City Pets, believe it or not.
okay,
He's dabbling in scooters as well,
yeah.
but that's okay.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
he put on one called, I don't know, Most of the Coast or something like that years ago, and we rode over and a band. They were tearing down a major bridge.
Uh huh.
It had holes in it the size of tractor trailers,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we rode across that.
Oh geez. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, uh, but I've been mostly Northeast focused, not just because I've always had pretty high pressure jobs in
Hmm.
management, and I didn't really have the time to get away for the long. You know, I'd make them happen.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
yeah,
it's come. I hear you 100%. That's, I can't talk about it yet, but like I've got a very great job that is very high pressure, and I'm still new at it. And I didn't think I was going to be able to get away for a moped event this summer, but I'm going to, and I'm very happy about
yeah.
that.
I mean, nothing will. I just started a new job today, literally today,
Awesome!
and
Congratulations.
the first thing I told them was that the weekend before Memorial Day is
Hmm.
sacrosanct. Acadia Rally.
Yep, yep.
Yep. aside from that, I don't care. But we complain about them, but it keeps the garage full of mopeds. So
Yeah. How many mopeds are you up to right now?
well, my problem is not, I could have a lot more. My problem is space.
Well, especially with tripods. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have two trikes and about 15 two-wheel. Yeah, but
That's
then there's also two motorcycles, a dune cycle, which is a three-wheel crazy chopper-looking contraption from the 70s, 60s actually.
yeah.
I have a rare mini bike with a shifter. So I'm moped focused, but not
Hmm.
strictly.
Yeah, yeah.
You still need a big bike to make noise in the neighborhood once in a while.
I think my neighbors get pretty annoyed with me ripping up and down
Yeah. Well, I
the
make up
street.
for it by fixing their snow blowers, and we have
Yeah.
we get along okay, except for this
Oh,
one nasty old lady that nobody likes. So
we all have one, don't we?
yeah, there has to be one.
Yeah, yeah. So what are your 2022 plans for mopeds? Obviously Acadia. What other do you have any other plans to get out
Oh,
for
I
rallies
definitely
or
we so I've been for the last 2 years a stickler for the weekly ride.
Mhm.
I have made it happen every week that it wasn't below freezing. I've gone and also organized it and got people to go out and made sure we had an interesting place to go, or some weird new food place to try, or some kind of illegal place to go that we're not supposed to be, but it has an incredible view or
Yep.
whatever. So that's not going to stop
And
because
congratulations on you for that because I my experience has shown me so far some of the cities with the highest moped count are the ones doing a weekly ride. At least like that's I'm seeing the zeros out in Toledo. I'm seeing Minneapolis. There those like just a couple examples like they have a good moped count in each city and they're doing weekly rides. So like good on you in Boston. Like but I know there's a ton
important.
of riders out in Boston and I know you're Mars did tell me that like you're organizing the weekly ride. So thank you very much for that because then people see and people get interested.
Oh yeah, we so many new people saw
Hmm.
or had one, didn't know, whatever, and now they're regulars. And it's like if you
Now, how do
saw.
people find your weekly rides? Not to interrupt you too bad, but how is that a thing? Because I was actually one of the listeners of the show lives in Boston, and she has a moped and her boyfriend has a scooter, which whatever. But like, how would if I'm somebody new to mopeds, how would I find your guys' weekly rides?
Facebook page, New England Mopeds.
Okay,
Okay, where Mars is an admin, I'm an admin. You know most of the admins.
yeah,
Um, it usually on the rides, a lot of the people that are going are LSLB.
yep,
I mean, they're all I'd like to say they're friends.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And but everyone who jumps on one of those, as far as I'm concerned, is friend or family.
yeah.
Um, but we're I start posting them as soon as the weather. Like we had a ride a couple weeks ago where we had that freakish warm day,
Okay.
and we had a dozen people show up in February.
Oh, dude, because people are itching. Like I said, it was 40 degrees. I was riding mopeds. I think I saw Edward, like Mr. Koipon, fake moped army himself, riding his scooter at 40 degrees in Chicago.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
some of
So
us idiots are out riding already.
right. I mean, I had all of them out today because every once in a while I just open the garage door, bring each one out, start it right around the block, put it back just to keep the seals soft. And
Hmm.
people don't realize how important that is,
Oh yeah.
especially when you have a colder climate.
Hmm.
If you keep the gas tank full with
Yep.
stabilized fuel, so this way you get no moisture, and you start it every month or two, even every 2 months, and just run it for 10 minutes.
Hmm.
That'll save your motor. They'll last forever. The seals get hard in the cold, and
Yep.
and that's when they crack.
Okay.
If you can just run it for a little while, soften it up, get some oil on them, get them back to and then you're good for another couple months. So I
Awesome.
did that today. I had all of them out.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. Neighbors
Uh,
like, what's wrong with that boy? Because the driveway is littered with bikes.
that shit makes me so happy.
Yeah.
I was giving a lot of friends crap in Kansas City because they had a 70-degree day. I'm like, you guys out riding? They're like, no. I'm like, what the? Whatever.
What's up with
Okay.
that?
I don't know.
Yep.
I would be going down there. Kansas City's like 6.5, 7 hour drive for me.
Right.
I would be going down there this weekend if they had a sunny day on Saturday, but it's supposed to rain, so I'm not driving 7 hours with my moped
Right.
to go ride in the rain. Not going to happen.
I hear you. We had some rainy rides. There's a couple of groups that popped up recently in the last 3 or 4 years in the southern Mass, Rhode Island area. They're kind of, well, now they're sort of competing clubs, but they're really, they were one and then they split up. But, they've been running a lot of rides and, doing a lot of stuff and become very active. And that area has some incredible view. There's ocean front, you go to Newport, so that's a ton of fun. And then there's a bunch of them that live in a rural part of Mass that have these open roads you can just blast for hours and nobody bothers you. So, that's been a treat, meeting up with those guys. There's two of them, Brute Squad and Road Thrashers Posse.
Yeah.
And
both really good internet presence, both really rad groups.
Yeah. I mean, they have, logos and all that stuff. I mean, to me, that's not what's important. It's getting out there to ride. But, whatever floats your boat, they're all family and,
Yeah. It's a bit of balance for both. I mean, it seems like to get noticed, you got to have something flashy, but those guys, I can say that both those groups are rad. I've interacted with all of them. Like,
right.
I'm all about the groups coming up. I think we're going to see a lot of great shit happen in 2022. I think it's in the next weekend or so, there's a rally going on in Savannah, Georgia, which with the Trash Pandas, you got the boys down in Nashville at the Daggers. They're putting on their rally, which I think is going to be huge. You got Acadia, and you got Baker's Dozen. I think the Wizards just announced their rally. It's going to be like, I don't know the dates because I'm not that prepared of a podcaster, but like you see things getting back to not normal per se, but people are like, we're getting back.
Well, in Boston, we rode more during COVID. I mean, we were like, this is not going to beat us if we got to mask up when we go, but whatever it is, fine. But we actually increased our riding. And there's like a tight group, LSLB and others. They have they rented a several bay garage.
Yeah.
And that's like, Moped headquarters for the area. And, it's just incredible.
Yeah. No, that's rad. And the way any city that has a group shop like that is so fucking thumbs up, like really rad.
Well, like for me, I'm it's a 10-mile ride each way for me to get to the ride. So
I'm the same way, brother. Like I'm over in St. Paul and like I probably have to ride 10 miles, 12 miles just to meet because the St. Paul, Minneapolis scene generally meets up at the same place every week, which is awesome. It's very consistent.
Right.
But I got to ride, which doesn't bother me because I'm a fucking moped rider. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Like,
but
I will blast over there. No big deal.
If you have a little issue or something with the moped, because that never happens.
I build Hondas. We don't have.
Got a place. You don't have to worry about how am I going to get this thing home.
No,
you have a second home, and they welcome you with open arms. You know what I'm saying? It's priceless.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, it's a really awesome thing that I wish my community had. I mean, I don't know if I would ever work on bikes at a community shop, but I would definitely give the entrance fee or whatever just to support it. Like I
Right.
always say, like if I was in Toledo, I would definitely do what I could do to support the zero shop. But like I'm a person, I can't be around people while I work on stuff because like I get ultra focused and the ADD gets going and like I'm bouncing all over the place if I have
I
other
have it
people
too.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
My problem is not that I'm ultra focused. My problem is when I start something, my ADD kicks in. I have to finish it no matter how long it takes.
yep.
So if people are like, I always see them, working on their winter project. Well, my winter project is 8 hours long.
Okay.
I bought a bike a few weeks ago and I will finish it that day
Oh, good for you.
or die, one or the other. Like I won't stop
Yep.
until I either run out of parts or, whatever, or it's done.
Yeah.
And usually because a shameless parts order, I don't run out of parts. So generally, if I find something out in the
Mm-hmm.
wild, it's out on the ride a day later. And
Yeah.
that's what happened I grabbed a cheap Safari
Mm-hmm.
that looked like, it needed some love. It looked like a bomb hit it. And 2 days later, I'm riding that on the group ride.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you. Now, are you some of these bikes? I mean, not your ultra rare ones, but are
They're all,
you
that Safari is the only one that's not ultra rare.
okay? I was gonna say, are you turning some of these around and bringing them back to the community? Because like, I
When
think
I
that's really
find,
rare when people. I think not
yeah,
rare. I think that's awesome when people do that as a service. Like, I'll buy Hobbits for like $100 a basket case, and I'll literally just say $50 for my time and gas and whatever I have in like stock parts because I won't sell a kitted bike because I don't want to have to deal with people with a kitted bike. So like I'll sell a lot of hobbits for 300-400 bucks. Like
yeah. No, I'm pretty well known for if I do sell something, you're getting it below market value.
hmm
But I do sell kitted bikes
good for you.
because
Like
because I'll build it to last. Like
mm-hmm.
I won't sell a kitted bike with a bushing. I I won't overbuild it. I'll make sure, it's got good bearings. I'll make sure, that example, my tripod, I kitted that in 2006
yeah.
and I don't drive it easy. And it's
Yeah.
people and it's still running. So I build them to last. I'm not afraid to sell a kitted bike because I don't sell wildly kitted bikes.
Yeah.
Those will break,
Yep.
you know? But I mean, I would sell a kitted bike that is so reliable. We use it as a rally loaner.
hmm No, that's awesome. And like when I say I won't sell a kitted bike, it's basically so I'm a little cheap because I do want to at least try to get my money out of it.
Right.
And you know as well as I do, like moped people, if you're in the scene, you're cheap and you don't want to pay full price for anything. And if you're somebody out in the wild, you don't want to pay they're cheap too, and they don't want to pay the price like your time, labor. So like
Right.
it's easier for me to put a stock bike together. And if somebody wants me to build them a faster bike, well then we can talk. But like I still I actually did build a performance bike for somebody, and all I did was charge them parts. Like, and
Right.
that was treats prices. I don't get a discount. I'm nothing special. Like, I just did a DR with a stuffy crank and a variator, and I made them buy that, and I put it together for
Yeah. I mean, like that Safari, I snared Dose's last Parma kit,
them. Mm-hmm.
B1 Parma kit. Those guys are golden. They gave it to me for $89.
Jesus,
Shipped.
yeah,
Shipped.
yeah,
Because it was the last one and supposedly they had issues, but they didn't really have issues. It's just a matter of knowing what that kit wants.
mm-hmm.
You know, it wants to be spaced up 2 millimeters. It wants, a certain head gasket. If you know what it wants and you give it to it, those are solid as can be.
Awesome.
So, basically built a performance bike for next to nothing. And someone's going to get a performance bike, for the
Heck yeah,
price
dude.
of, a rusty, rusty
So
Moby.
Yeah. I'm as we kind of wrap up here, Dave. I gotta thank you so much for coming on. I'm
My
wrapping up a
pleasure.
little bit because I am tired and I'm tired. But so what are your 2022 plans for mopeds? Let me ask you that. I think we kind of touched on that, and then me and you kind of segued into another
Yeah, I do
topic.
that. It's the
Oh,
80s.
dude, no worries. Like I love
Yeah.
segues.
Well, I am always on the hunt for the
Hmm.
rare. Okay. And, when I find something in the wild that's rare, I'm going to bring that back to life and bring it as close to original looking
Hmm.
as possible. It may not be, anything I do to engines is usually reversible. I keep the
Hmm.
original, you know. Um, so, I want to increase the collection a little bit. Um, want to find stuff for the community and, fix it up and resell it. I want to ride every day, but of course there's rainy days. We'll have our group rides here. My weekends during the summer are going to be a mess because of my new job, but before and after the summer, I definitely want to get to some rallies away from the Northeast because,
Hmm.
that's really, you know, the last check mark on the bucket list there. I really haven't gone to, Midwest for a rally, West Coast. Um, Trying to wrap my head around how I bring a bike with me.
Hmm. I
But
just throw it. I have a Volks. Well, I did with my Forester, but like I just have one of those car totes that are like,
I no, I
yep,
can carry three bikes. I have a
okay,
trailer, I have a car tote.
okay,
Yeah, I'm talking about going by plane or bus or
ah,
I do have that DKW. If I throw a kid on that, it'll keep up. And it's one of those minis.
yeah.
Although I did have a Donizelli that I kitted. Donizelli mini kid, the one that folds in half with the 9-inch wheels.
Yeah, Ryan or Nick from the Cranks has one. Like, didn't they use them on like ships and stuff back in the day?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. Muhammad Ali had one.
okay.
I have I had the one that he owned.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
impressive.
So of course it had an MO on it. I had to put an MO2 on it, of course, and I had to put an EV turbo pipe on that little tiny thing, custom cut.
Yeah,
And I had to put a bigger carb, and I had to put a Polini kit
of course.
on a 9-inch hardtail.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So the thing was ridiculously fast. I almost got killed on it so many times. I called it death by moped. My wife made me sell it because I went over the bars on it once. I mean, this thing was
Yeah,
dangerous.
Ryan's is sketchy as hell. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he made a pipe for it and everything. Yeah, it's
Go 50 on one of those and see what
oh
happens.
oh
It
Jesus
was
Christ,
no,
no thanks. I'm
no.
good. I'm good. I'm good. Um,
So I have the little DKW that I can actually put in a duffel bag because the handlebars fold down. So
yeah,
I think, I don't really want to drive all over the place and then go to a rally because then you're tired. I'd rather either hop a bus or a plane and ship the moped.
you're not tired until you get home, and then all the adrenaline and all the endorphins wear off. Then you're shot for a day and a half, and you have rally hangover,
How
like they
old are
all
you?
talk about. I'm 39.
Yeah, I'm going to be 67 in 2 days.
Well, you can get a hotel and just take your time like you did on the way to Key West.
Yeah. Well, most of the time on the way to Key West, I had a bedroll and we
Yeah.
slept under the stars. We only went to hotels when it was pouring.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're in Florida, it's pouring every day.
yeah, but only for 10 minutes.
It's true. That
I know.
screwed me up so much the first time I went to Florida to see my mom. She's owned property on and off for the last decade down there. And like, I fly into Orlando and like, it's downpouring. I'm like, well, this day's shot. 10 minutes later, everything's like dry as can be. I'm like, what the fuck? She goes, it's Florida. Don't worry about it,
Yeah,
Jim. I'm
that's
like,
what
oh,
that
gee.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Florida. Um, but I can't. We'll chit chat for a moment here. We'll get it off the podcast here. I can't thank you enough, Dave, for coming on Second Chance
It,
a Moped podcast.
Pleasure's mine.
We'll have you on again. Don't worry, we got another. We're on episode 99, but with any luck, I'll have another 100 in me to do.
I
Um,
hope so.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I dig it. Talk mopeds, get to know people. It's a rad world out there. But again, Dave, thank you very much for coming on. Everybody, don't forget to check out Second Chance Pod on Instagram. Facebook, Second Chance Moped Podcast. There's a group, there's a page, all that good stuff. If you got any questions for me or any of that good stuff, Second Chance at, hold on, Second Chance Podcast at gmail.com. I don't know. Just get a hold of me on Instagram. It's the easiest way to do it. Also, make sure to listen next week at episode 100. I got something pretty cool for everyone to tune into. And again, Dave, thanks you very much for coming on. And don't forget, mopeds are dumb.
And so am I. Be well.
Thank you, Dave.
Take care.
Talk to you. Bye.